There is a very close correlation between fear and anger. In relation to the story that Ruth shared just now, just sitting in the traffic, angry at the traffic, not moving, and then the fear arises that you're not going to get to the meeting on time. And it could be the other one, fearing exam, fearing that we're not going to do well in exam, and then getting angry with the school system, getting angry with the government's policy. And we can move from anger to fear, fear to anger, because they're like twins. It's very subtle. So whenever you get angry, investigate, what is the underlying fear? Fear of things going wrong, fear of shame, fear of disappointment. And the way to come out of that is to look at possibilities. What are your other options instead of focusing on the fear and focusing on what could go wrong? Now, what happens to us when we experience fear? I was in the netball team when I was in school, and it's a really big deal to be in a netball team because we were always winning as a school. I was 15 then, and I always enjoyed the practices because I was good at netball. But when it actually came to the real game at the competition, I would drop the ball. I was wing attack. Those of you who might know netball, I know it's like a no longer a fashionable game. But if you're old enough, you would know what netball is all about. And I would be at the wing attack, I'm about to go and get the ball, and I'm really good at darting. And then my mind would go, make sure you don't drop the ball. Make sure you don't drop the ball. And then I would catch the ball, and then I would drop the ball. And I'm like, how did I do that? You know, it's like, I'm not supposed to drop the ball. And one of the rules is, if you drop the ball, you can't pick it up. So it's not like you drop the ball and you can go and quickly save the ball. And then I was put on the sideline, and another one gets to replace me. And it happened again in the next game. During the practices, it never happens. And then I was put on the second team. And then I realized it was all fear. Fear of failing, it was what caused me to fail. It wasn't that I wasn't good, but it was fear. So those of you who have children, please do not instill fear in them when they're about to go and take an exam. Saying things like, make sure you don't make mistake, make sure you check, make sure this, make sure that. And that is just going to instill so much fear, and that's not going to help them to perform. So because I learned from that, I don't even mention the word exam with my kids, except, what time am I supposed to drive you to the school for the exam? Because it's not helpful, because the word exam really has too much correlation with fear. And we forget what is really the purpose of exam. Because now I also teach mindfulness-based instruction to the doctors who are going for exams. And you would think they're like the experts, right, in taking exams. But they have so much fear. The fear of failure. And my goodness, if doctors cannot take exam, who else can, right? They're top 2% of the whole nation of taking exams. But that fear doesn't go away because it's been ingrained in their mind. Actually, it's not the fear of the exam, it's the fear of failing. And forgetting the purpose of exam is to help to assess whether somebody is ready. Because who would want someone who's not ready to be doing something that could cause a mistake that could be harmful to the body of the person? It's like when you take exam for driving. Would you want a driver who can't pass the exam to be on the road? So it's really to assess whether the person is ready. And rather than making the exam the biggest deal of their life. So what about anger? And I'm putting this up because I want to share a story with you of what happened at Don Mueang Airport. How many of you have gone through Don Mueang Airport? Do you realize it's an airport for Chinese tourists? Yeah? With a few flights from everywhere else. So during this holiday that I went to, I did quite a bit of shopping, so I had to go and claim for the sales tax. It's called the VAT. And I went to queue, and there were a few in front of me. And I was quite happy. I know that within about 10 minutes, I would be able to clear mine so I could get to my flight in time. Then I saw a group of Chinese aunties walking towards the group, while this person in front of me said, "Hey, lie, you know, like lie and come and stand in the front." And I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. What are my options? My options is let them all go in the front, which is not a good idea. So I said, excuse me, please queue at the back. And then there was this guy who's a real Chinese hunk. And I meant hunk. He had a singlet on, beautiful muscles, good-looking face. He was like, what's it got to do with you? Maybe not in such good English, but it was like, I said, look, we have to all queue because we all have our flight to catch. And then he said, don't worry about her. Lie. And I'm like, no. I said, you have to queue. So I put on my stern voice, you have to queue. And then he said, don't listen to her. Oh, then I felt my blood pressure. I felt my face flushed. And I thought, okay, time to practice mindfulness. Take a deep breath. And I thought, maybe there are my students around as well. Take that deep breath. What are my choices? Number 1, shout at him. Number 2, hit him in the solar plexus, which is not going to be much use. Number 3, say nothing. So I said nothing. And I stared. And then these people didn't dare to come in, which was really good, was very effective. And they all went to the back. And then he was really furious. And he said, you're a bitch. I'm like, wow, now it's like getting abusive. So I was like, okay, you know what? I learned karate. I could knee him right in the groin. That was fun. Then I said, oh my gosh, but I could end up staying back because I might get arrested. So that's not a good idea. So my mind was going through a lot of options. And finally it's like, the best option? Say nothing. So I stood there and I focused on my breathing because my heart was beating really fast, right? This is a stress reactivity. My blood pressure was up. I was flushed, but I was like, okay, say nothing, just keep breathing. And he was continuing his abuse. And when I finally got to the front of the counter, I was like, oh, why do I have to take the side one? Because now he take the other one and then I will have to walk past him. And I was pretty sure that he wasn't going to let me off. So I had, number 1, this is what I'll say. Number 2, this is what I'll say. Number 3, this is what I'll say if he starts to attack me again verbally. So when I finished, I walked past him and sure enough, he turned around and he said, he upgraded me, you are a Singapore whore. I like, turned around and I took a deep breath and I said, you know, it's people like you that give Chinese a bad name. And then I walked off and I was like, oh, so pleased with myself. The truth is, when we have a calm and clear mind or clearer mind, we can choose a different option. And that is where the tire hits the road, or the rubber hits the road. That is the time when we really need it, and we remember how to apply it.